Hey, Jordan, your assessments have been super helpful. I'm curious, in keeping with the Jefferson haircut, he famously had a copy of Seneca on his nightstand. And when you chatted with John Vervaeke, you mentioned that The Collapse of Complex Civilizations was in your top five. I'm curious what other books you might be rereading or that you're gifting out the most often to people. Thanks.
Well, in point of materiality, when I packed up the RV and headed out to the Texas Hill Country about 6 weeks ago, I did not pack many books with me. So I don't have any of them, but let's go hypothetically. That's a really good question. In the past, not too long ago, I would tend to recommend books that were, let's call it educational. I quite liked Carol Quigley's book, The Evolution of Civilizations, for example. I thought he did a very thoughtful job about how civilizations evolve. And I've always glued that together with Tainter stuff and had that be a very powerful thing. Peter Turchin's works, for example, also very, very good. But, this is Kairos. This isn't really the time for that. How about, I think it's called Carnage and Culture. Have you ever heard of that? That's a pretty good one. That's a story about how it is that for whatever reason, Western civilizations seem to always have this weird thing of asymmetrically winning stuff they should have lost over and over again, which is just talking about how do we pull that off? What does it mean when you're faced with absolutely overwhelming odds and yet you're able to pull off victory? That's what Carnage and Culture is about. And it talks about a lot of the things that I've been talking about here, like how do we actually build the capacity to have reasonable courage? And how do you know who you can count on? That's kind of the stuff that I would point to right now. And I also take a look at deep mythopoetic archetypal things, because a lot of what's happening right now can only be grasped through that lens. Arthurian legends, and I don't mean it in terms of entertainment. I mean now in terms of sacred text, like read it and see where it lands in your body. Where does that give you a signal of what is something that is being called for now? And by the way, who's Mordred in this story?